Hello, hello. We are live on a snowy Sunday here in Chicaaaago. Got my Chicago accent going. It's a pretty crummy day here. How you all doing? Wait for a few people to come on board here. Catch up with everybody. What do we got? Tom Perry says good evening. So you must be in Europe, maybe England. How are you? We got Henriette, Sandra, Ashley's here, Cheryl Freeman, Meredith, Bernadette, da-da-da-da-da-da, here they come. How y'all doing today? Thought we'd just catch up. Can't go outside today. We could go outside, but it's brutal. It's just brutal today. Good time to see you guys and interact. I don't have to watch where I'm walking now, so we can just chat. I can watch what you guys are saying. All right. Tina from Kentucky. How's the weather in Kentucky? Lisa Bullock in Florida. How are you? Roxanne White, Michelle, Bob Davis. Debbie Butler is here, one of our faithful. Bet you can't say Gloucestershire. Gloucestershire. That's not a tongue twister. What's a tongue twister? Indubitably. That's not really a tongue twister. I got to think of what's a good tongue twister, guys. Tommy picked a peck of pickle-pepples. Isn't there one about the pickles? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Is that the one? Now that's a tongue twister. You have to say it slow. Oh, I got one for you. You want a tongue twister? Toy boat. Toyboat. Say that 5 times really fast, and you end up saying toy boat. Did you ever try that? Now we're into tongue twisters. How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Samantha says. Cloudy but clearing in the Pacific Northwest. Sparkle plentia? Sparkle plenty. I don't know how I didn't read that. It's a tongue twister. We got Netta Munson. Good afternoon. Snowy here in Elk Grove, Minnesota. Man, Minnesota. Do you guys still have snow on the ground there? You must. You know, I've got a place in northern Wisconsin. I think we've got so much snow like you guys this year. It's like insane. In Berlin. So I'm going to give you guys some updates. Linda Schallbeck's here. Linda. Sacramento gal. Is it windy out there? It's always windy in Sacramento. Got to get back to Sacramento. Linda, we have a story, right? We have a big story. You want to do the story of your son, Mikey. Pacific Northwest is cloudy and clearing. Okay, cool. Cloudy in Michigan. Yeah, you got the same thing we've got. So, hey, I put a link to Olivia. Did you guys like the movie Gone with the Wind, going back in time? Going way back in the Wayback Machine, right? The Golden Age, the Golden Age, Golden Film. Gone with the Wind with Clark Gable and what's her name? Tara. Anyway, Olivia de Havilland played the other woman, the nice woman, and she did Vivian Leigh. Thank you. Who was first on that? Susan Arty. Vivian Leigh. Yeah. So Olivia de Havilland, very interesting story about her. I put a link below in the description box after this or whenever you can watch. Did a very striking interview before she passed away about all the behind the scenes stuff at Gone with the Wind. I really loved it. Seen a lot of that kind of stuff, but I thought you guys might like that. So I pulled that out. Just a little side thing here on Faces of the Forgotten. And what else? Tell me what's going on. Do you guys have any questions? Any thoughts? Christian Nichols is in for $10. 65 degrees in Arkansas. Oh, I love Arkansas. 65 degrees right now. Glad you enjoy the stories. Thank you for the $10. Very generous. Yeah, now that it's summer, the money that's coming in, you guys, we're going to have gravestones coming out. I know that Jennifer Lewis said we're close in upstate New York, Auburn, for the Keller family. And I think some of the other ones, we're still getting bogged down in, Vanessa tells me, with Jeanette Stevens, the cemeteries. We're not going to talk about it until the gravestone comes in, and then we're going to really talk about it. Vanessa, hope you're doing well out there in California. And we've got a couple of others, and we got the big one for the family of Leroy Woods, who passed away. His son was killed by the Midway Airport jet. So what am I? Let's see. Chris is cooking while watching. 64 in New Hampshire. Metallica is awesome. How did we get into Metallica? Love Metallica. Okay, somebody brought up Metallica. Okay, cool. Who doesn't like Metallica? You want to talk about Metallica? We can talk about any more. $10 from Jay Morgan, sending sunshine your way. Thanks, buddy. Any more paranormal coming? No, actually, I'm off that channel. No growth for that channel. No interest other than you guys, which is great. But we like everybody from Face of Forgotten like came over, and it's all you guys. We're at 18,000 of you came over, and then YouTube just like doesn't put it out, doesn't no growth, no interest. So I'm not doing it anymore. And then Britton and I talked. We're we might get back to it for fun sometime, but there's no point in it's a failure as far as I'm concerned. It's fun for you guys. I know you like it, but if it's not a growing channel and it's a failure in my mind, it means there's no interest. Like my Bush Pilot channel. I mean, I got it there as a legacy for my family, but that's a failure too. This channel is growing, continues to grow rapidly, which means there's something we're doing that's intriguing to the audiences. So I'm going to keep my eye on the ball and focus on this, because this was slipping a little bit too, which was okay. I was going to do a little less content and make up for some there. But I got to tell you, when Britton and I, we went to West Virginia to do the Mothman, and I got to tell you, it was an hour-long episode. We spent a lot of time, and thanks LilyPad for the $5, a lot of time and money on that. And my editing, I mean, I put a lot of effort into that, and it's just crappy views, no new viewers. YouTube's not helping us at all on that channel, not putting it out there. So why no more paranormal stuff? And you know what? I will be honest with you, I am a little disenchanted. Now, I believe in the energies and I believe in the spirit world. I do believe that it exists because, I have a very scientific background and that supports it. But we were just not finding anything. It's not like you're going to find everything every time, but we weren't finding very little. I feel like I was pushing the envelope, like, with the infrared, and we're seeing something that maybe we're seeing, but it's probably just anomalies, and it's just like seeing orbs and things. It's BS in my opinion, unless you really, if there's real energy. And we explored the equipment and all that. I took it as far as I could. Maybe if I can come up with a better piece of equipment that can really sense the energies that are there. But I am not going down the road of the paranormal channels and needles moving and knocking and making stuff up and all that stuff like that. So no, I'm focused back here, and I'm focused in some new areas that we're going to talk about. In addition to everything we're doing, it's very going down rabbit holes on untold stories, basically. YouTube is being awful lately to some creators are going to Patreon and say, yeah, Hannah Rose, very good point. In fact, tonight's episode, the premiere, I'm going to share with you that are on the live stream, is a story that was done on my one of my friends, newfound friends, a guy that really inspires me, Obsolete Oddities. And he's pretty much gotten off YouTube. They are punishing him for no reason. He has unbelievably great content, but there are, from what I understand, there are people inside YouTube, I won't get into it, but just some terrible stuff. And this episode is really dedicated to Obsolete Oddities channel. I'm sure some of you guys watch his channel. He's pivoted to other platforms now. John Walker, thank you for the 10. Very cool. And the story that we have tonight on Catherine Denino, and this whole, it's a very intriguing story. I did my rendition at the actual cemetery. We found the grave of Rocco, but you have to go see his channel. He's the originator of that story, and the way he does it, he's a storybook and does these unbelievable vignettes. And if you know my episodes, some of my episodes, I've taken it up a notch on these vintage stories. Like, what's a good one? The one that I did about, God, I forgot his name. Well, the Keller family's one, where I step away and do these vignettes, or where I have music and interludes where we've got some cool pictures and maybe some movement. Well, this Obsolete Oddities is who inspired me maybe a year plus ago to add a little bit of that. I love his work, very creative, give him all the credit. And anyway, tonight is dedicated to his channel, and that you can go watch that same episode and see how he did it, which is amazing. I'm just my eyes, because he's very creative. He does these vignettes. It's a little Monty Python-ish, which I love, with the pictures start moving and birds are flying and the music. K9 for $10. Thanks, buddy. Wrecked. What's wrecked? Fall off your chair. Renee Bates loves oddities. Yeah, how many of you guys watch Obsolete Oddities? Christian said, just went to Oakland Cemetery in Atlanta. It's beautiful, large cemetery. Okay. I don't think I've been to Atlanta now. I haven't been to that cemetery. So, yeah, it's how's the weather, you guys? It's still snowing out here. Britain's here, it looks like. Britain's downtown. You getting snow downtown, Britt? That was fun seeing you yesterday. So we did that quick little 3-minute stick our phone in a mausoleum. I got a couple of comments, nasty comments. You're disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know what? Go watch someone else, because I'm doing that. I'm morbid, and it's not disrespectful. It's disrespectful, I think, if you are poking around in somebody, first generation, the last 20, 30 years. But that old stuff from the 1800s, come on, give me a break. So they're blocked. See, I don't just delete comments. I block anything that's negative. You not only get your comment removed, but you just get blocked. I'm like the block king. Block, block, block. I don't want anybody here who's not positive, because this is a positive. You're in my house. Don't crap on my rug. I'm gonna kick you out of my house. Rainy and windy in LA, LaGrange, Kentucky. Oh, I got some good stories back in Kentucky. I got to get back. There's so many stories that I've got. It's crazy. Andrew Duckworth from New Zealand. Good day. Good day. Is that how you say it? Toronto's looking good. Glenda says, I want to see Obsolete Oddities. Sounds like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I think he has his old stuff still up on YouTube, going back 2 or 3 years. So you can't miss. You got to watch his stuff. You want great vintage stories, well told, well researched. And then he goes to antique shops too, and he does all this crazy stuff. If I like it, maybe you'll like it, because that's like my number one or top 5 channels. And I don't get to watch YouTube hardly at all, unless I'm on a big road trip. Then I watch YouTube. Other than Scott, I like to tune on Scott on tape. He's a good guy. Darlene from St. Augustine, Florida. What's going on in St. Augustine? Got good weather down there? Let me check my radar here. So what else do I want to talk about? What else do you want to talk about? Heck with me. Got to read what you're saying here. Taking a break from research to watch this. What kind of research you doing there, KY? KYWY, 1984. I hope to share haunted Sonoma, California with you sometime. Oh, that sounds good. Isn't Sonoma where isn't it wine country? It's up here, up near San Francisco. I love San Francisco. Michael has been watching, Michael Divley, been watching Obsolete Oddities for 2 years. Yeah, he's that's great to know. I'm sure we've got a lot of overlap, and I'm anxious for this episode to air tonight so that he can watch it. I want to get his take on it. Space Bears, thank you for the hard work. Thanks, I really appreciate it. And I'm seeing a lot of Obsolete Oddity fans here. It's very cool. You're going to love tonight's episode. In fact, those of you who probably saw this episode, now you'll see my take on it tonight, which is really, it's no better. It's really just we're at the cemetery. We found the grave. I still think that Obsolete does. Adi Bo, I think he goes by Adi Bo. I think he does a better job than I could do. But it's different perspective, right? Different perspective. Ron, I like your simple videos walking through old cemetery and whatever catches your eye. Yeah, I gotta get back to that. So I'm getting too caught up in the stories, but I do try to focus on some. I do see graves that I kind of wander to. I do like to do that. How is Mama Sita? Candy Kretz says. She's doing great. She's not here at my house now. She is with one of her other sons, but she's doing really good. Jeffrey says, come to Florida. I was in Florida a month and a half ago. And in fact, right now you are catching the Florida stories. Tonight's episode is in Fort Lauderdale. And then Tuesday, oh God, this week, this is the big wrap up. This is the finale week, guys, on the Southern trip. I've got, what do I got here? I've got 3 of my best spooky and twisted tales. And then next Tuesday, that's, Tuesday, Thursday, and then this Sunday, my finale, which is in Alabama. And then I've got one more in Alabama at a pet cemetery that you're going to love next Tuesday. And then we have Cinco de Mayo week. I've got 3 episodes in Mexico. The singing gravedigger. We got him coming. I got an underwater pet cemetery at a cenote. That's really cool. And I've got the big wrap up episode in Cancun where tourists don't go. And we did have a confrontation. That's the one I hired for $3,000. Actually, I had security, Mexican nationals armed with guns. And it's lucky I did because we had a confrontation this is where you don't go. And it's not a bad neighborhood. It's just this is Cancun. This is native, Mexican, indigenous, whatever word you want to use. And you don't go there. And you're looked at. I mean, I was in a car with tinted windows. But I mean, if I were standing out there anywhere, everyone would stop and go, "What's the gringo doing here?" And we had some confrontation at the cemetery. Some of that's on the episode, and then I had an encounter in a open crypt of a child with a 2.5, a 30-inch, had to be 30-inch, 24 to 30-inch iguana that exploded. So and some crazy stuff. Like stuff that you're not going to see. Really going to be the Cinco de Mayo week in Mexico, the 3 episodes I think you're going to love because it's not the usual stuff. I mean, we're going to learn some stuff there too. So I hope you guys like that. So I've saved that for Cinco de Mayo week. Let's see, what else do I got? I got a few more episodes like the twisted vintage stuff, getting more into the vintage murders. And I did get up into an 1800s, late 1800s chapel at I won't tell you the cemetery yet. It's a biggie, famous cemetery, not in Illinois. And they let me in the chapel. It's taken 2 months to get this set up. And I went with a really cool guy. And we went downstairs to the crematorium. So weird, crazy. Got the camera in there where tourists don't go. And there's some unique elements to it that were customs that we talk about that he explained. That was like, you've got to be kidding. Like, did you know that in those days you would bring the body there, the family, like from your home, right? There were no funeral homes. I mean, there were funeral parlors, but most people had the body in the parlor of their house. That was the wake. and you would bring the body, your loved one, to the cemetery, to the crematorium, in the chapel, and you'd bring, and there was a way it would lower downstairs, and there's a special waiting room for family while your loved one was cremated. For the 3 hours, you would sit in this dungeon room. Crazy stuff, but this was, 1910, 1920s, 1930s. This was how you do it. So yeah, so I've got that. My son's off university going to Liverpool, 2 hours away, June Hall says. Come to UK. Yeah, I've got 2024 summer coming to Scotland and then shooting down to London. I have all my stories set, but if you got a good story, let me know. It might bump something off my list, but it's got to be really good. Can't be a told story, can't be something that's been done on YouTube. I'm pretty much trying to exclusively go untold stories stuff, and we are digging hard. Deb has been working with me a lot. So let's see here. Ruth Tester, I'm doing well. Miss Piggy, well, questionable death, stop that. Not sure what that means. Hello from the Isle of Wight. Oh my God. The Isle of Wight, isn't that, I saw that was in Prometheus, the movie. That's such a cool place. Lucy Lightfoot and the Crusader of Gatagome, Isle of Wight. I'm going to try to get up to northern, I don't know, but I really want to go to Scapa Flow and the Orkneys. Like, how much can you really, each of these, like to go to Isle of Wight, that's like a major mission, but definitely something from us. Send me an email on that story, or somebody, Alice or Ashley, if we could make a note on that. Sounds very intriguing. You're talking about Lucy Lightfoot and the Crusader of Gatacombe, Isle of Wight. Some cemetery there. You will find Lucy. Hey, that's the kind of stuff I'm going to be doing more and more on. I'm also going to Asia. I'm not going to tell you where yet, but it's going to be a little risky. I'm not going to Tokyo. I'm not going to Beijing. I'm going. So I'm not, disease I got to watch for, kidnapping risk, but there's stories I got to do. So there's going to be this January, not this January, next year, like after the holidays this year, January, I'm thinking of going to Asia. I have a specific mission I'm on. So we're going to be getting out of our box here. Mexico was a little dip, and we're going to start getting around the world. That's my goal. Yeah. And to South America too. There's a big story I want to do there. So what's going on? What do you guys have to say? I see a lot of comments, but I'm not saying a lot of questions, and you guys are all chatting with each other. I'm like the background music, I think. This is like for you guys to get together. So I was watching a episode, speaking of this, I'm watching a William Shatner interview. I think it was William Shatner, if you go on YouTube, his uncut, whatever. And he was talking about going to, it's like Britain, where he's into the horror stuff, and you go to these conventions, and then the Trekkies, they have their convention. William Shatner was talking about, we'd all get together, and we were shocked because it wasn't about us. It was about them, and all of them like getting together. We were like the background noise. That's what I feel like here, which is great. I'm the conduit to get you guys all together here so you can chat. It's like, that's why I like doing these Sunday night premieres, so you guys can all like chat away. But if you have any questions for me, I'm here to answer. Hopefully I haven't missed anything. Kind of keeping an eye on the stream here. What kind of camera do you use? Jeffrey Water says. I can't share that. I can tell you that I've spent 6 months when I first started the channel. I probably spent about $20,000 testing equipment, from gimbals to, and I will just tell you, cinematic professional gear. I can't share it because I put too much time and money into it, and I'm not going to let that out. The drone is a typical drone, nothing fancy. I think it's more the piloting technique is very difficult, takes a lot of time to learn, except for my shaky hands. Oh, it's really makes it super hard. But I pulled a few off. And then, but I use my cell phone too, it's my iPhone 12. I keep my notes on here, and then I do the live streams with that. And the gimbal I use is, I forget the name of it. I've shared that. But I got a new mic system that I like. I can share that. If anybody wants to email me on the cell phone mic or the gimbal I use for my cell phone, I don't mind sharing that, but I won't share my my professional gear. No way. A lot of people want to know. Even when I'm walking by shiny graves like monuments, and you can see the camera, like, oh no, I got to put a picture there, cover it, or change, animate the picture. I'm very careful where you can't see me in the mirror, right? Yeah. So what else we got going? Yeah, like I say, I got an open eye for Scotland, London. When I come, I've got my stories, but you never know. It's like Tommy the Cat story. I always use an example when I was up in Vermont, and I had all my stories, and I was getting ready to go home. But he had a story about vampires. I'm like, wow, that just moved to the top of the list. I'm going to go do that and bump something else up. So June Hall, do I still fly? I do not. I retired from flying last when COVID really hit, and pivoted to doing this. And it's funny, I just, after 20 years of flying, bush pilot expeditions, I had the plane crash in the mountains with the warplane that we survived. But I still bought another seaplane, the biggest seaplane, a jet, turboprop commercial airplane, flew that for a year and a half. And then it was just becoming, moving on to the next thing. But that's all going to be in the book. The book. I just finished the back cover. Last edits the book. When it's like a month away, I think. But I will blast that out. You will hear it over and over. I'm going to make you guys nuts to buy my book on all my Arctic expeditions, the plane crash, what makes me tick as I grew up in all my crazy adventures. But anyway, getting back to, I wanted to share with you also what I'm into now, because I feel like I love getting into rabbit holes. And what I'm working on now, and there's like a month lag before you'll see it. And I've already shot 2 episodes. I'm going back to the late 1800s, the early 1900s. I've been working with Deb, but I've been doing a lot of research myself. And this is at libraries and online, and very hard to put these stories together, but I'm focused on grave robbing, body snatching now. I'm doing a lot of big stories on that, forgotten stories you would never. It's unbelievable, the whole body snatching industry. Now, if you watched my Marilla trilogy, episode 1, 2, 3, and then I've done some other stuff on body snatching, but the best one to go back to is the one in Sycamore, Illinois, St. Charles riot on Marilla Canyon, part 1, part 2, part 3, because it was a mission where I found out about the story, and then I wanted to find her grave, and it was a real cookie trail to find her grave, because I wanted to stand, where did they dig her up? And they took her to St. Charles, and there was a riot, and people were killed, and they got her back, and they reburied her. And then I wanted to find out, this is like 2 years ago, how do they called them the ghouls. Basically, the term ghoul, GHOA, OULS, is body snatching. So if you're 1910 or 1880 and you pick up the paper, they say ghouls. And that's what that term means, is body snatching. And I really wanted to know, how do they do that? Like, what specifically are the steps? And it was just amazing, like how they scouted it. During the day, they'd pretend they're a hunter shooting rabbits, and there's, oh, the grave's over there. Okay, we'll make a note of that. And they come back, and how they do it, and how they protect themselves, and how they secret themselves. And no, they don't dig the whole coffin up. They just bore a little hole, and it's like taking a fish out with this big thing, and it pulls them by the chin and suck them right out of the coffin. And if you want to hear all that, go to part 3 of the Marilla Kenyon. I did it like 2 years ago, but we are, Tommy the Cat, Rhode Island. Dude, I've got cases every state in the country. It's crazy how much it had, because, you know, the anatomists. Hey, Sarah, thank you for the 50. I just saw you sent 50 on a comment from last night. You don't have to give that much. Thank you so much. It's all going to a good cause. Shout out for Sarah Magdalena with the little fox. Thank you. Very cool. It's very, very generous. I know I checked out your channel. I know you watch Steve, and I know you watch Wit Ducks. So I've been checking you out. Very cool. You know, I want to know who's so giving like that. So really cool. But yeah, so the other thing is buried alive. Now, here we go. Guys, if you have a story where you have in your state a ghoulish story, because they are hard to find, of a victim who was body snatched. And, you know, if you go in the old papers, and I've got a lot of them, and we can get the find a grave, then I will go there. Most likely I put it on my list, and sometimes might make a special trip. But the one I will make an absolute special trip on, if you find a story of someone that was buried alive. I think I've covered, between Whitdox and me, Whitdox has Octavia Hatcher covered, and I've got a couple of others. The one, Anna Hochwald in Dayton, which is at the Calvary. Oh my God, the coolest cemetery on freaking planet. And then I did one in Illinois with that little, oh no, that wasn't buried alive. Was it buried? Oh, the one in Minnesota. Anyway, I am looking for buried alive story. That's very hard to find those stories published of someone that was buried alive. And, you know, they happen to dig them up, and the scratch marks on the inside of the coffin and all that. And I just love going to where the grave is and saying, it happened right here. It's like, wow. And then tell the story. So we got Free King Awesome. Just now when the show came on, I'm doing laundry, changing. There's no water, checking the valves. I turned off. What's going on? Turn them on, turn them off. It works again. Ghost stories. Hey, it might be this live stream interfering with your plumbing. I don't know. So what do you guys think of those kind of stories? Now, I'm not totally getting away from murder and stuff like everybody else, but I'm doing some rabbit holes, and a lot of it are these old stories. Do you like those stories? It seems like from the views, I get bigger views from those stories. But if you don't like those stories, I mean, let me know if you like those stories. I do. That's, you know, a lot of this is what intrigues me, is what I do. When you visit Scotland, you must go to Niddry Vaults, Mary Stevens Close, also oh man, send that stuff to me, will you, June Hall? Can you send me an email or on Instagram? Send me that stuff. I need, I have a specific mission in Scotland, and I know there's stuff, but I have a mission there that I'm doing. I'm only going to be there maybe a week, so there's only so much you can do. But, you know, let me, you know, send that stuff to me. Emerald Kimmy, there was an incident in Hollywood Cemetery, 1980s, quite ghoulish. For the name of person, somebody went into the crypt. Yeah, see if you can find out. So that's a late one in the 1980s. Yeah, you know, this stuff still happens. There's a lot of sick people out there. Wendy Hall, I love your videos. Religiously watch. South Africa. Very cool. I agree with you. Should maybe write a book with all your interesting stories. Well, I did write a book, Wendy. Been working on it for 3 years with a co-author, and a great publishing house called Wheatmark is behind it. I am blown away with all of their editing and suggestions and professionalism, and it's all coming. It's coming out in about a month after 3 years of work. Pretty much all the editing's done. It's just getting wrapped up right now. So keep an eye out for it. But I'll be telling you guys about it. I'll definitely keep you guys posted. Don't worry, I will let you know. Greetings from Germany, Miss Marple. Miss Marple, you've been around, I know. Are you still going to try to make it to Wyoming? Tammy, yes. Wyoming and Montana, I've got on my list. I've got my stories, and I'm going to do it this summer. Not sure when this summer, But that's the big trip this summer. That trip and the other trip is Pennsylvania. I've got like 40 Pennsylvania stories that are awesome, and I've got to whittle down to like 8. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but for some reason, Pennsylvania, the stories have built up, and I've got to. Have you done any stories in East Tennessee? Yes, several. Memphis, a lot in Nashville, Civil War, the story of the guy that was buried in the Fisk coffin and they broke it open. What was his name? Oh, and I went to the museum and I show you the actual Fisk, and then we go to his grave. Then I went to the hill where he was killed, in the last stand of Nashville, when the Union forces from Minnesota came up the hill. What was his name? Anybody remember? Go to Enos, Montana, cool graveyards. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. As you know, it's going to be one of these things. What I love to do is I'm road tripping. I'm going through Montana. It's like stopping. Holy cow, look at that. And I'll be doing a lot of Instagramming too. You know, when I'm on the road trips, I'll be doing a lot of reels. Like, look at this, look at this, look at this. So we're going to have fun in Montana and Wyoming too. Oh, what do we got? Yeah, I'm Lebanon County. Okay. Meredith Cook, Pennsylvania. Where is that? Is that by Pittsburgh or Philly? Jackson, Tennessee is where Casey Jones is buried. Don't know if you've been there. Yeah, I did Disney every day. I did the Casey Jones story. Just if you guys want, you just check on search YouTube and just say Casey Jones Faces of the Forgotten. Search, and it'll bring my video. I did Casey Jones. Went to his grave, told a little story. Actually, I had an incident on the Casey Jones where was that Jackson, Tennessee. I was in the Waffle House parking lot because that's where the closest thing to the Casey Jones locomotive is, the museum there. And I think it's a very similar model. It's not the train that crashed, of course, but I had my sidearm and I got approached by 2 guys from opposite, and you can see I couldn't edit it all out. I tried to edit it out and you see them coming and then I cut, and I had a confrontation with them, and it came down to me basically saying, don't do anything stupid. I didn't point the gun at them, but I was going to get either carjacked or robbed for sure. That was already, Tommy the Cat, please delete your comment. I've already done the story, but it's secret. I got to delete your comment here. Sorry. Remove. Yeah, don't bring that one up. I'm keeping that secret. I've already shot it on my southern trip, but I'm saving it for Halloween. So sorry to delete your comment. Nothing personal, but please keep that in your pocket. Great story, haunting, great place, and my video turned out fantastic. In fact, when you see next Sunday night's episode, which is my finale episode, it's going to be a little similar to that because I do some special effects. What else we got? Do I have Twitter? No, I do not have Twitter. I only have Instagram. I'm not a Twitter guy, and I'm not a Facebook guy, although we have a great shout out Ashley's Facebook for Face Forgotten. Fantastic. I mean, I try to check in there once in a while, but I'm not a Facebook guy. So no. Pat Studevert lives in Montana, Broadus. Very small place. Let me know. Oh, yeah, thanks. You know, I kind of have a rule. I don't meet anybody. A lot of people want, and I never know where I'm going to be or when. And it's so like circuitous and crazy and fast. I'm like fast. I shoot and then I'm gone. It's like a whole system. But thank you. I appreciate it. Did you say you were going to talk about one of Peaky Blinders' graves? Yes. And I'm going to hit that subject when I'm in London. And you know, I gotta actually stop talking about what I'm doing. That's why I did mention that one, because in the past I've been copied, so I can't really take that one back. So there it is. It's out there, unfortunately. So I got to be careful. I get so excited, you know. I want to tell you guys what I'm doing, but I've been burned here, even very late, of sharing what I'm going to do, even just sharing like where I'm going. It's weird. Ashley does an amazing job for your Facebook. Yes, thanks, Ruth. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to Alice too for moderating. I really, really value what you guys do. Hi from New Jersey, Ria. Just take a picture when you go through. That'll be good. Okay, Pat, I will definitely do that. Who lives in New Hampshire? It says, wait, what was this up here? YouTube is the only platform for me. Okay, yeah. When do you plan on taking a break from making a video, like a vacation? Well, Miss Piggy, I have to tell you, this is a vacation doing what I'm doing. It's really fun. But I probably didn't do anything for the last, up until 2 weeks ago. I probably didn't. I was golfing with my son for like 2 weeks after school and goofing around. See, I did 35 episodes on my southern trip. And while I'm on the trip at the hotels at night, I'm doing the editing. I'm trying to keep up. And by the time I get home, I have 28 of the 35 episodes already edited and in YouTube. It's on a scheduler. And that's like a month ahead. And then I came home and I did a few more and I shot a few things. And it's like, I'm done. Take 2 weeks off and do other things. Like right now, I'm almost 2 months. I have right now, I think I have 25 episodes already edited and shot in. Like I could release them all tomorrow, but I don't. I do 3 a week because then I would just like blow it. And then I'd have like blank space for 2 weeks. That's how you do it. You get ahead, then you take a break and then you do more. But I can't stop though. It's like yesterday. I was like, it's a nice day. What do I want? I haven't seen Britain for a while. Let's meet at Roseville. I don't know what we're going to do. Let's walk around Roseville and get caught up. And we end up shooting a little 3-minute thing. And it's like, I can't resist. Like today, I want to go out, live stream, I want to do something. This is like play. This is vacation. I'm pretty much retired. I sold my companies. This is what I do. This is Disney Everyday says, this is the best channel on YouTube. As a history buff, I also love how you respect everyone's graves, regardless who they were, what they were, how they were, unlike other channels. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I don't know about the other channels, but I'm just having fun here. And yeah, we are respectful, but we are morbid. And some people don't like that. If you're not morbid, then maybe you should go watch another channel. But thank you. I appreciate that. It's an inspiring note. You should do an investigation, Elizabeth Bowes says, on Harkness Park in Waterford, Connecticut, a beautiful piece of land by sea. So beautiful there and hunting. Okay, yeah, make a note of that. I actually am out of stories in Connecticut. I shot all the stories that last trip I went there. Got some good. Scott on Tape is another one I like. He's really funny. Who's Scott on Tape? Send me a link so I can find him. That's Emerald Kimmy. We just collaborated. Me and Scott on Tape just came out this week. He's got an episode coming out. We had fun together on his channel, but his audio, I'll just say what we did was a crazy place and it involved high speed, not in a car, and the mic like blew out. So, and he's using his cell phone, right? And so we didn't have any audio, but he's going to do something creative with that. I know him. We were talking about it. So I don't know. It might come out next week, might come out soon. Scott on Tape's going to have like just a fun episode with me and him. We had a good time. He's such a good guy. I got to tell you, he's got a big heart. He's very giving and he's a stand-up guy. He's not like, it doesn't have an agenda. He's not, I can just tell he's out to give, he's a giver. He's not a taker. So he's and he's crazy funny. Just cracks me up. And just go on. I'm like the straight guy. What do they call it? Like Andy Griffith and Barney Knotts. I'm like the Andy Griffith. I'm just like the straight man. I just go on his lead. He is hilarious, right? Yeah, he might show up here. He showed up last week. He's always fun to have around. What else did I want to tell you? So yeah, that's kind of what I'm up to. Big plans. I'll try to do a live stream next Sunday. Now, next week, after next week on Monday, I'm going to Arizona. I got 4 episodes. Cheryl D, I'm going to do that episode in Arizona. I'm going to be there for like 10 days and then back here. And then the end of May, that'll bring us to the end of May. I'm going to be moving to Wisconsin. I'm out of here for good. I'll be coming back. I got an Airbnb for my son here in the summer. So I'll be popping back to Chicago a little bit. Gotta find Britt. Do some stuff. Britt, are you working on that story? Britt is working on a big story. If Britton can come up with the goods, so I met with Britton yesterday, and we have this big idea of this big story, but he's going to go to the library, and he's going to do that. I think, Britton, you go on Monday, and he's going to come up with, if he comes up with the story, then we'll do an episode. If he doesn't, we won't have an episode. Justin Jeffrey, welcome to AZ. Can I join it? I've been watching since COVID. Oh, that's a long time then. Cool. Let's start in White River. Actually, White River, Apache White Mountain is where my plane crashed in May of 2018 on a Sunday. And yeah, I've got a lot of memories there, escaping after that plane crash with my crewmate. And I actually do have a White Mountain story that I'm doing on my list when I go the end of this month to Arizona. I'm going to be down in the White Mountains on one story that I have. That's one of my 4 stories. So yeah, Justine Jeffrey, your good minds think alike. And I got a couple stories in Tucson I'm going to do. And then I got one in Flagstaff that I might do. And then there's one out in the bush. Remember the story that I did on the Oatman massacre? I have a story like that I'm doing. But not as far as Yuma. Wow. Yumas. Rachel Ghostcat, looking for the book. Can I sign it? We're going to have to figure that out, because when the books all come out, they're going to be on Amazon to start. I'm not going to be able to sign them because I'm in the process of moving. You know, I got to ship the books. I got to get the books. We're going to be with movers going to Wisconsin. We got Arizona. I don't think I can sign the books. Maybe down the line, we'll figure something out. I wonder if there's a way that I can like sign a page that could be inserted later. Like, you know, because you don't want to do a stamp. I want to, like, if I'm going to sign your book, I want to sign it to you with your name, and maybe draw a little face or something, not a smiley. You know, I'm a cartoonist, but I don't want to just, I want to do it right. Maybe that's how we'll do it. Maybe I'll do it as like an insert. You could tape it in but I don't know. Cause then I'm going to be like at UPS. Like, how does that even work? I wonder if I could do it. I don't know. We got to think about that. The book signing, cause I do want to do it, but I can't off the bat, just with everything that's going on. I'm not going to be able to do it. Will you be recording your book? I think the publishing company will be doing that, I believe. I don't know when. I don't know if it's going to be out of the box. But yeah, I want an audio version of it for sure. I don't know how that works. Like, do I do it? Does somebody do? I think the publishing, they hire people to do that. But then someone was telling me at dinner last night, like, my buddy Jim, he's like, you need to do your own audiobook with your voice. You need to do it. So maybe I'll do it. But gosh, reading a whole book out loud. HH says, I forgot what Richard Marx did. He signed a certain number of DVDs and that. Yeah, let me know. There's got to be a way to do this, but I don't want to do it like online and download it. Like it needs to be like Sharpie ink, sign it, like, right? That's what you want, right? Ron, we should all do a meetup in New Orleans. I am love to. I am not going to be in New Orleans for a long, long time. I did New Orleans twice now in the last 2 years. I am not going to be back there. I'm going to probably tell you for 10 years, maybe five years, because like I gotta go to other places. But yeah, meet up somewhere. The problem with the meetup, we tried that in Chicaago. No one came. I mean, no matter where you pick, everybody's all over the world. That's the problem. The meetup situation doesn't really work, I don't think, because I get a couple people that live there, and the other people that live there can't make it. You know, it's just everybody's so spread out, and no one's going to like fly in to meet me. which I don't blame them. But Jana says, yeah, do the book in your own voice. That would mean a lot. Yeah, I think it would be fun to do that. Maybe I'll sell signed copies on your merch page, Cheryl D says. Yeah, the problem is, how do I sign them? Because then I'm going to the FedEx every day with boxes, and I'm moving. I can't, maybe down the line when I get settled, wherever I'm, after the move is done. What part of Wisconsin are you moving to? Well, we have a place in north of Minocqua, Wisconsin for the last 25 years. I've had a place long time up there. And that's just basically moving to that place and selling this place because my son's going to college. And I'm like, there's no purpose to stay here anymore. But I'm going to have the Airbnb here, like I said, this summer for him. And so I might pop back in here. But yeah, way north of Minocqua, Eagle River, all that, way up there. I can't wait. But I think I'm going to get cabin fever up there. Like Arizona, there's so much to do, like Carefree, Cave Creek. There's so many, Nevada, mountains. I mean, that's 7 months a year I'll be in Arizona. There's going to be so much to do. But when I'm in Wisconsin, it's so beautiful. There's lots of land, the woods, but it's cabin fever. So that's when we go to Montana, Wyoming, a lot of traveling in the summer, I think. Like going to Pennsylvania, I think, I think I can take a week or two up there and then I get cabin fever. As beautiful as it is, the lake and everything, it's like, Ron can't sign your book before you ship. I don't ship the books out, Ruth. They come from a publisher, Wheatmark Publishing. It's all done by others. I'm not involved at all. It's all done by the book title, Henriette, is called Into the Unknown. I think if you go on my Instagram and you scroll back, did I not put the book cover? I think I did a teaser. And it's basically me in my flight suit. I'm about to get into the TBM Avenger World War II plane with my parachute on. It's a cool shot that my friend took, got lucky, and then took off from there and then crashed into the White Mountains because the engine blew up with my crewmate. It was a bad ordeal, but it's called Into the Unknown. And it starts with it's not just the plane crash. It's my Arctic 20 years of Arctic expeditions, finding the ship, HMS Erebus, polar bear. I got stalked twice by polar bears. I had a grizzly bear encounter in Alaska, the close call. It's a lot of, I can just tell you won't be bored reading this book. If you like adventure and close calls, you'll be on the edge of your seat. That's what I've had a few people look at the manuscript, and the publisher was really excited about it. The publisher was like, this is really good. So I don't know if maybe they just say that. I don't know. John Assam saw your Kansas shirt a couple of weeks ago. Rock Chalk. Yeah. So Cave Creek. Yeah. Oh, Cave Creek's where your son is buried. Wow. I wonder if we passed his grave, John. John Assams, ASAMS. Sorry, my condolences. That's beautiful cemetery. That's like my latest where I want to be married. Buried, not married. Buried. My condolences, though. Hannah Stack. Hold your tongue and say, I ship the ship and the ship. Oh. The tip and the fifth tips me real fast. I can't do it. We're back to tongue twisters, guys. I've been watching your other channel about airplanes. Oh, thanks, Ruth. Cool. Yeah, nobody watches that channel. Hopefully somebody reads the book. Someone told me they followed and recorded a black bear. God was with her that day. Yeah, black bears can be dangerous. Most of the time, black bears are like big raccoons. They run away. But every once in a while, just like in humans, there's a bad one, a murderer. And if you run into the wrong bear, could be game over. Sahara, greetings from Spain. Awesome. You should check out the Auto Museum in Volo, Brian says. I did. I've been up there. Yeah. And I understand it's a cool cemetery up there, too. Got it. Maybe that's where I'll do my next live stream, at the cemetery up there. Daniel Bateman, first time from Arkansas. Great to have you with us. Oh, I know what I want to tell you guys. There was a, so I don't know if you know this, but my son's a high school. He's a senior, and all across the country, they're doing this game that I've never heard of. My other sons, they did. I don't think they did in high school, but it's a game where of the class, and they have a big high school. I think they have like everybody throws, well, not everybody, but you throw $5 into a kitty, and they got almost $1,000. So if you divide that up, how many? That's a lot of kids. And basically, the way the game works, it's like an elimination game. You are given, or you draw the name of one of your classmates that's in the group that you have to shoot with a squirt gun. Not in school, out of school. And if you get them with the squirt gun, they're out. Right? Simple? Not so simple. If you and you can't, nothing can happen in school, but once you leave the school doors, you go in the parking lot, you're vulnerable. You can get shot with the squirt gun. Now, the first thing I think is like guns in schools, and it's a squirt gun. Come on, but I'm just like, thank God people have not gone over the top and freaked out, like, no squirt guns in school. Anyway, they have to wear goggles, swimming goggles, or floaties, and not flat, blown up floaties on your arms. And if you wear those, then you can't be killed, like with the squirt gun. You can't be, I shouldn't say killed, you can't be eliminated. But they had this day called Purge Day. So my son's still alive, right? In fact, one of the kids, they were playing in the driveway last week, Friday night, beer pong, with the ping pong balls, or they bounce a quarter, throw a quarter up. Anyway, they got that table, drinking game, and like in the dark, you could see cars going by. Oh, you're being sucked. And you have to leave your cell phone on. That's part of the rules. So they can locate you and you can locate them. And they like stalked in the dark and came through our backyard and got one of the kids with the squirt gun. So he was out. So the reason I'm telling this story is I was with Nathan and one of his friends, Cameron, golfing at the golf course. This is just 3 days ago. And we're talking about all this, and we're like on 4 holes before we're over, like number 15 or 14. And I go, whoa, do you know who your guy is that's coming after you? And he goes, yeah. I go, do you know, like, what if he stalks you here? And he's like, yeah, he wouldn't stalk me here. And he looks on his phone. He goes, he's here. He's here. He's at the clubhouse. Like, you can pinpoint. So the kid, I think his name was Steve. He's like waiting. So we know he's waiting for us in the clubhouse. So listen to this. We're like, all right, how are we going to get you out of here? Let's play the rest of the holes. But on the 18th hole, we're not going to play that hole. We're going to go back around the sneaky way to the back end of the parking lot. And I happen to have Bumblebee, the crazy 900 horsepower Hellcat, my yellow Hellcat that I showed you on that one live stream, Bumblebee. So I had Bumblebee park way on the edge of the parking lot. So Cam took our car. It's like, you're responsible for taking the cart back. We're going to run through the woods into the parking lot with it. So we run through the woods, the parking lot, we run out, throw the bag in the trunk. I turn the Hellcat on, literally going out. And this kid is running to his Jeep and chasing us. So now we got this Wrangler Jeep coming we have to go down this long road to the highway. And as we get to the long road, to the end, to the highway, I'm taking a right, and I can see him in my rearview mirror. He's like coming. So, the Hellcat, I'm on a 2-lane highway, no traffic. I'm like, I won't say how fast I was going, but he was gone. But then we ran into traffic, and here he comes, can see him. And he's catching up. We made it all the way to the house, into the garage, and he's coming. And the garage door is going down, and he's got the squirt gun, and Nathan's like, bye. And the door closed just in time. Anyway, Nathan got eliminated last night. He was at a party, and he didn't have his floaties on. Anyway, and he told me they're doing it all over the country. His friend Parker's in Parker Blick. They have a big family, Blick Nation. They're in Florida, and they're doing it in Florida. So it must be going on all over. Have you guys heard of this, what they're doing? Carry the swim goggles in his pocket. Yeah, the problem is they sneak up behind you, like, and they squirt you in the neck, and you don't know. Kids are really sneaky. But anyway, I wanted to tell you this story. How do you find out about the history of people in the cemetery? Brian Gosnikar is asking. Wow, well, a lot of online research. Thank God we have Google, and we have some I get from Wikipedia, very little, mostly newspapers, stories, a lot of online searching, and a lot of help from Deb. We use ancestry.com a lot, and a lot of it we get on Ancestry. So that's how we do it. Yeah. We used something similar with water guns in high school. It was fun, Miss Piggy said. Oh, so you did a game like that? I've never heard of this game, but I was having more fun than he was. My adrenaline was up here. I was like, I'm part of this. Yeah, the library trips, Nikki Welch, right on. Yeah, use the library. How about like in the old days, the microfiche, right? Where you're going through and you see videos of that. People, it's like, oh man, the research team. I love that. Yeah, the library was fun. I always enjoyed the library. It was like a sanctuary, right? Which it is. But just to go, it's just, but now I don't think I've been to the library in 15 years, since the internet. Sad to say. And WS is sad that it is snowing here, just starting to come our way in Southwest Ontario. Aren't you under snow in Ontario? Yeah, Nikki Welch, the smell of old books, the musty smell. If you go in an antique store, there's still a lot of good old books. Have you did any videos in Janesville, Wisconsin? Have you done any videos, you mean? Typo. Janesville. Yeah, Janesville's by Beloit. Actually, I think I did a story of the squirrel hunter that accidentally killed his girlfriend in the car she was handling his gun. I think that I don't remember what that was called, but yeah, I get through Janesville a lot. Janesville, by the way, has a really cool restaurant at the airport because I landed there and had breakfast, one of the best breakfasts. I forget what the name of the place is, but go to Janesville Airport and go to the cool on the field. Pilots go there. Everybody goes. It's really cool. Like that. Yeah, the books smell. The Gilded Age Phoenix. You can borrow just about any book for free on Internet Archive. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you can do everything online, right? What else you guys got? Anybody have any questions? Any thoughts for the channel? Any suggestions? I do want to confirm, do you guys like the vintage stuff I'm doing? Like, what's your favorite stuff that I'm doing? It seems like the biggest views I get, like the story I did of the Dowdy children, the kids that the not Cheyenne, Comanche Indians massacred supposedly, that got a ton of views. The vintage stuff seems like my history vintage stuff is getting the most views, which I enjoy doing the most. Is that what you guys like? Ever do a video on Crybaby Bridge? No, because let me tell you something about Crybaby Bridge. Crybaby Bridge is every state in the country. In fact, every county has a Crybaby Bridge. That story has been remanufactured. I thought I had the original. When I was first told that story, it was Monmouth, Illinois, Crybaby Bridge. My friend Sherry McNall, who was a partner at Partners by Design, and I was like, I got to do that story. I kept it in my notes forever. And then I come to find out every state in the country has the same stupid story. It's not a stupid story, but it's stupid because it's everywhere, with the handprints and the little children that were killed and pushing the car. If you put the car in neutral, it's like, oh my God, everybody's got that same story. Give me some original stories. Anyway, vintage stuff you like. So that's what I'm seeing. A lot of you like the vintage stuff. Yeah, okay. Well, that's what I'm going to do. The Northeast is rife with Crybaby Bridge. Carrie C. Yeah, I like it's not even every state, every county has a crybaby bridge. There were some other stories like that everybody like copies and they say, oh, that's our story. It's like Billy the Kid, Billy the Kid is everywhere. Can I buy your book, Sarah Magdalena? Yeah, it's coming out in a month or so I'll give you all the info on Amazon. Don't worry. Hello from Holland. Where in Holland? Paul, are you in Amsterdam? Is Amsterdam, right? Holland, Netherlands. What about the Bunnyman Bridge? Never heard of the Bunnyman. Is that an Easter story? Westview Cemetery, Atlanta. I haven't been to Westview. I've been to some Atlanta cemeteries. The biggest story I can remember is the Fagan story, the Fagan murder. What was her first name? The girl who was murdered in the pencil factory. Big story I did there. That was a cool cemetery. I wonder if that's Westview. I can't remember the cemetery. I did the big cemetery in Atlanta, right on the north side. I can't remember the name of it though, but I've done like a few stories in Atlanta. Yeah. The airport restaurants in Janesville is called Bessie's. Yeah, Bessie's Diner. You been there, Brian? Yeah, that's a great. You watch the airplanes coming in. That used to be me coming in. I landed my caravan there, Caravan Amphibian. That's a big seaplane for 11 people. But I sold that. About a year and a half ago. No more flying. Cemetery caretaker stories. Yeah, that's what I'm digging up. The older the better, June Hall says. All right, good. It's good to hear you guys because I've got a lot of that stuff coming up. And probably 80% of my stuff is vintage, Gilded Age, Victorian, all of that stuff. Any plans to visit cemeteries in Ottawa, Canada? No, I don't have any stories in Ottawa. Everything's driven by stories. I do have some Canadian stories, just haven't gotten up there yet. I have an Ontario story that's far eastern Ontario. Very difficult place to get to, but a lifetime mission I will do. It's on a person that's very, very connected. I enjoy 99.9 everything you do. The 1% I just enjoy not as much. Nancy Litton. That's pretty good. Marie Malta, I'll be buying your book. Now, I want everyone to know that we have someone here from Malta. You know where Malta is? Malta is a little island off the boot, okay, of Italy. A lot of World War II history. Malta was besieged by the Germans, 42, beginning of World War II. Trapped there on Malta. Malta held out. I would love to come to Malta. I've got to come to Malta someday. The history there. But the World War II stories, I'm going to still do them, but nobody likes those. I mean, some of you like those stories, but no views, the worst views, sadly. But I'll still do them. I'll space them out. The Bunnyman Bridge, the Daily Woo. Now, isn't that the guy that I don't know who the Daily Woo is a pretty big channel. I don't know, but I think Scott is friends with him because he mentioned the Daily Woo, the Bunnyman Bridge. See, I won't do that then because if he's done it, what do I have to offer? I want to do stuff that hasn't been told. Carrie C. was friends with the crematory operator caretaker Rosedale, witnessed cremations, desensitized. Okay. Where is Rosedale? The only Rosedale that I know of is in California, and it's called Rosedale something. I did The Daughter of Rasputin. Where, Carrie C., where are we at? Or where are you at? Where's Rosedale? What state? What city? My papa, World War II, Vicky Parsons says, cool. What is a woo? I don't know. Woo woo. Haven't been to Malta, but went to the Maldives. Maldives? Bear paws. Maldives. I think it's called the Maldives. That's very cool. That's kind of exotic, sounds like. A lot of World War II in Denmark. Oh, yeah. Well, Denmark, that was the Operation Market Garden. Monty was heading that. Oh, sorry, all you Brits, but Monty, that didn't go so well for us, for the Allies. But saving the Dutch, the food drops. You guys know about the food drops, starving. The Nazis were starving the Dutch. Oh, sad. There was a landslide in Wales years ago. Aberfan. Cool. Wales. Wales is another place I want to go. Yeah. Greetings from Egg Harbor, Wisconsin. The Ed Gein story. Yeah, we enjoyed our trip to Plainfield a few years ago. What a spooky. See, now, Ed Gein, that's a story that a lot of people have done, but I had to do that story. I had to go there. That's so freaky, creepy. And the other thing is on Route 51, that's the highway. When I go to my place in Wisconsin, I'm always looking. You can see the cemetery where Ed Gein is from the highway. And I was like, Ed Gein, there he is. So I was like, I had to do that story. Al Capone's grave, South Florida. Al Capone's not in South Florida. What are you talking about? He's at Mount Carmel with his brother, Frank Capone, and the other Capones. Rosedale has really. Where's Rosedale? I must have missed it. It says really, Rosedale is really old graves. Used to play tag on the lawn. It was known as Mother Hill. But where's Rosedale? Okay, I got to go back. Carrie C. I must have missed your comment. I can't move back. Carrie, I was asking, where is Rosedale? What? If you could repeat. Oh, it's in South Orange, New Jersey. Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that. Gotcha. Any questions? Who would you like? Let's see. June Hall says, definitely get the book. Who would you like to play you? Oh, if it was made in a film, they'll never make it in a film. But like, oh, that's funny. Like, who would? I think David Hasselhoff should play me. Is he still alive? Or William Shatner? They're going to gain a little weight. William Shatner's looking pretty good considering. I'm a big fan of his. He was quite an actor, I have to say. The Benders was freaky. Oh, I gotta tell you about that. So the landowner, what a great guy. We're friends, and I did the Bloody Benders, and we went and we looked at some early excavating, amateur excavating, and he is set up now with professionals. And I think it might start this summer. Anthropology, people that know what they're doing, they're going to be doing a whole study there for 2 years. And I hope to be able to bring you guys some heady, upfront, early info and maybe some video of what's going on there and what they find. Yeah, I keep in touch with him. Really great guy from Cherryvale, Kansas, where that happened. And our belief is, and he agreed with me, I was really ranting on this. I said, you know what? They said they found so many bodies, but there's bodies that are buried there, skeletons that they didn't find. And the reason you can still find them is because the ones they did bury, most of them, they buried deep. They didn't bury them a foot or two deep. They buried them 4 feet deep, I think. So even though it's been farmed and tilled, those bones will still it'll be below the frost line or at the frost line, which is probably 30 inches deep, maybe more. So I predict there's going to be a lot more victims found at the Bender site where the Bender cabin was, where do you know the Bloody Bender story where they would trick travelers to come in, feed them. They'd sit at the table, a big tarp behind them. And the father Bender would go back there with a big sledgehammer. Actually, it wasn't that big. It's in the museum. I did the video on it, and then smash them in the back of the head and knock them out. And then they carve them up, take all their money. And they drop a hatch in the floor, and the guy would drop from his chair like Shanghai right to this bloody slab in the cellar. Gruesome story. They found all that stuff. Bloody Benders is a great story. I think I did a 2 or 3 part on that. I think mine's, can't remember. Lorraine Scott loves Shatner, but he is too old he can't play me. And Hasselhoff did not age well. Hasselhoff is like, I don't know. What movie? What are we talking about? Ron, did you do a video on the Gacy victims? I've done several Gacy victims. So Cecil Search YouTube, Face Forgotten. I've did most of the local Gacy victims already. I would love to see you do something on the fruitcake lady from Jay Leno. Who is the fruitcake lady? Oh, man. Oh, thank you, Alice, for putting that up. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one where I bring in the drone. And I actually have my museum in the Northwoods in Wisconsin. I have like a little mini shelf museum. I have a museum in my hangar, World War II museum, too. That was supposed to be with the plane that's gone. But I have actually, he gave me artifacts from the benders, like the little porcelain and some metal. I've got some really, oh, thank you, Alice, again. You know what? Yeah, Robert Peast is a good one. And then if you could, Alice, give them the link on the one that I did with Britain on Andrew. I can't remember his name, but he was just identified last year or the year before. We did his grave. Oh, yeah, there you go. Francis Wayne Alexander. Not Andrew, it's Alexander. Yeah. So there you go. There's a couple of them. I think those are just the two I did. Oh, no, then we did another one on the boy that they think is misidentified, and they're in the mother's trying. Oh, there you go. Part 3. You're way ahead of me, Alice. Good job. What happened to the beard? That was just a temporary thing. That was just for my boys. My sons wanted to see me grow a beard. I'm not a guy that like, I grew a pretty good beard. I think I could really grow a crazy beard if I wanted to, but it's like, gets in the way and it's itchy and it's like, ugh. I can only do it for a couple of months. That was it. Thanks, Christy. Kristen, you like the beard? Cool. All right. I think I'm going to wrap up. We are like, wow, over an hour. Oh, you want to talk a little more? I mean, I got nowhere to be. We just have our premiere tonight. Loved your Norwood Park videos. Part of my family lived there. What did I do in Norwood Park? I think I did the story of the. I go like this because they were in the crypts, the family where the daughter was killed by the jealous boyfriend who was still alive and out of prison. Can't remember her name. I think that was Norwood. They lived in Norwood. That's all I know. Nancy, the island, Mackinac Island, the island cemetery is relocated from to have you covered the stories about cemeteries moved. Yeah, the biggest one that I covered where a cemetery was moved was in California of Edith. Alice, can you find that one of Edith? The girl in the fist coffin that was preserved. And by the way, I could not show her real picture when they opened the coffin. I gave the link. If you go to the description box or pinned comment, Edith, God, I can't remember her name, but yeah, the cemetery was moved and she was left behind. They built a condo and they found later in the basement of the condo, they were doing excavation. They found her fist coffin with the glass and she was fairly well preserved. Edith Cook, thank you. Yeah, frozen in time. So if you just look at that link here, Alice just put up, that cemetery in Colma was relocated like a lot of the others to the big cemetery, and they left people behind, proven. So right there, it's a spooky story. Alice is the bomb. Alice is awesome. She came up with another Alice loves the vintage stories. She's like us. Alice, are you Comanche? Are you part Comanche or all Comanche? No, you're Creek. I think you're mostly Creek and Comanche. Fascinating. I love Native American First Nation people and your history. Love it, love it. Alice, I know you're Creek. Tell me if I think you're Comanche too. The horse riders. Really interesting story of the Apache. You know, we went through Texas, not the Apache. Well, the Apache got thrown out of Texas by the Comanche. The Comanche, if you go back to the 1500s, and by the way, a little bit about Native American history. If you go back to the 1500s, when the Spanish came, there were over 6 million peoples. Okay, 6 million. And today there's maybe 250,000. So think about that. Mostly wiped out by disease. smallpox, yellow fever. But the Comanche, interesting story, in the 1600s, they were up in Wyoming. That's where they were. And they were getting their butts kicked around. They couldn't farm. They couldn't trade. They couldn't really do much of anything. And they were kind of the tribe that was, or the peoples that were, there many different tribes that were kicked around and booted around. And they just kept getting pushed further and further south. And they ended up in Texas. And in the 1700s, 1600s, they were the first peoples to discover the horse that the horses were breeding that the Spanish brought, because they're not native here. And they said, you know what we're good at? We're good at attacking and pillaging. And they became warriors on horses. And they, the strategy of Indian warfare, and I say Indian, that was what it was called, was to get off your horse or get down on the ground. And what the Comanche did is they would ride these circles, centrifugal at lightning speed. And they had the horses trained just with slight foot movements to do these circles around who they were trying to take down. And it was hard, it was another a Native American tribe. They're in a battle. You can't shoot an arrow like that or throw a spear. And then they would protect themselves by hiding behind the horse and hanging on by their leg. And then they could shoot under the horse's neck. They could shoot. And they'd have this whole system, and they were just dominating, even into the 1800s. The whole story, under the skylight moon or whatever it's called, Quanah Parker. I mean, it's just there's a fantastic book I've read. I'm sure many of you have read it, but the Comanche have an amazing history. They're dominant. Hey, Scott on Tape is here. Are you in a treehouse? Yes. Do you like my treehouse? I'm actually at my home in an attic. I'm in like an attic bedroom because my son has some friends. Yes, Comanche were the masters of skills. They weren't originally. They were the worst. They were getting kicked around in the 1500s. What's going on, Scott? What are you up to? What are you shooting? I was telling everybody about our episode that we did together in Florida, that you're going to come up with something creative. When's that coming out? Is that coming out soon? I know you're going to do something really cool with that. Hey, everybody, Scott on Tape is here. Check out his channel. If you don't know, we're good buddies. We are collab buddies. Actually, Scott and I are going to get together possibly this summer at two different times, maybe once in Pennsylvania, and definitely, what's the other place we're going to get together? I can't remember. But definitely this summer, we might cross paths again, I hope. Scott on Tape. What are we doing? When's that episode coming out? Oh, here we go. Working on it. Got something fun coming regarding. It's going to be a funny video. That's what I was hoping. That's awesome. All right. You guys are going to love it because you got the video part and we were having a good time. So I'm sure it's going to be something pretty funny. So Scott on Tape is here, everybody. Check his channel out. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'm his #1 fan. Alice, if you could, or Ashley, if you could put the link to his channel up for people that don't know about. There was a couple of people that didn't know about Scott when I was talking about you before. Oh my God. Southern Illinois shortwave. You're in Carbondale? That's where I went to school, 1978 to 1981, and many parties thereafter. Giant City, Devil's Kitchen. I was just showing my son Devil's Kitchen and the cliff. I used to be a diver, and I was a high school, college swimmer and a diver, a dive team. And we would cliff dive at a place called Devil's Kitchen off these cliffs that were like 50 feet high. I mean, we checked out the water. I remember doing 1.5 pike cliff diving, like crazy. I was looking on Google Earth, Devil's Kitchen. I was trying to find the cliff last week. Man, I got a story in Carbondale too of when I was in college. When I was there, a woman that was killed, one of the college students that was killed. In 2 years, the mall in Carbondale, maybe, the mall, they're going to tear it down. I think you were talking about that a month ago. Okay. Yeah, that's too bad. I have a lot of memories at the mall out east there towards Marion, right? At the edge of town. It's probably not at the edge of town anymore these days. I'm sure Carbondale has grown. Scott, what are you up to? Where are you at? Are you still up in Canucksville, up in Canada, Toronto? Are you at home? When's your next road trip, Scott? Tell us. I'm gonna be in Arizona the end of this month. Oh, I think we were talking. Where were we talking about? We might meet in Pennsylvania, and then there's somewhere else. I think it was in Phoenix, maybe. Are you coming through Phoenix? I can't even remember now. Anyway, Scott and I are going to definitely get together. Scott on tape says, "Hi, Karen England." Yep. Toronto waiting patiently for the hockey playoffs to start. You are a Canuck. Our Blackhawks, I hear Taze and Kane are gone, going somewhere together, butt buddies. Minnesota. Oh, yeah. Minnesota. Sorry, man. You're right, Minnesota. I don't have a lot to do there, but I do have a few stories. So Scott likes Minnesota. We're going to hook up there. Minneapolis. June Hall just started following Scott. That's good that you guys are going over there. What else? What else are you guys thinking? Southern Illinois shortwave. He likes Scott's channel. We got a lot of overlap. It's really good. I'm headed to LA middle of May, my stomping grounds. Yeah. Hey, do me a favor. Say hi to Steve when you're there. He's one of my favorite guys. I know you know Steve. Who else is out there in LA? Who else is in LA that does the... I mean, Steve's the big LA guy, right? Steve's into the celebrities. He has a lot of overlap with what you're doing. Any plans to come to Scotland, Arlene? Yes, I was saying, I've said over and over, Scotland, coming to Edinburgh, 2024 summer. I'm hoping to get to the Orkneys. I got a couple stories at Scapa Flow, but I don't know if I'm going to pull that off. That's like really extreme. But then I'm going to get down to London too. That's going to be my my mission, my Europe mission 2024 summer. I hope, if everything goes smooth. Hi from the UK. Hello, Michael. Susie Bogus. Hey, Ron Hope as well. Love the stories. Glad to see a sunny day. I hope you have a sunny day. Scott says, all my viewers love you, Ron. Steve is in the Palm Springs. Oh, yeah, he moved to Palm Springs. Scott from Dearly Departed is in the Palm Springs as well. Oh, I thought he was in LA. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Wasn't Steve in LA and then he moved to Palm Springs? Okay, cool. Yeah, there's I'll tell you, here's my thing on LA. So I've done some stuff in LA, not a lot. And I have some stories in LA, really good stories. But the cemeteries, Scott, have you run into this? The cemetery staff, like Holy Cross, they like kicked me out. Rosedale Angeles, I did right in the middle of my story on Rasputin's daughter. Really good story. I was like, oh, I got this story. Nobody's done this. Right in the middle of the story, got kicked out of there. Like, it seems like LA is really anti YouTube. Now I know Forest Lawn, I did some stuff there. They didn't hassle me, but LA is like, I don't know, anti, like Holy Cross is super anti. And the other one, Calvary, they're also anti YouTubers. I almost got kicked out of there. I had to like hide my camera, take it out, I was playing a game there. I did some stuff, but yeah, Holy Cross, dude. I was doing a story in Bela Lugosi and I had my cell phone like this and I'm looking around like, no way. And they must have me in binoculars. I want to do Evelyn Nesbitt. And I was like, screw that. I'll do Stanford White, the other side of that story in Long Island before I go back to Holy Cross. Who's the other one at Holy Cross? Oh, yeah, they just booted me right out of there. But so you haven't had problems in the other cemeteries. That's cool. Yeah. And then the traffic. The only other thing about LA is it is really, You know, it is really, the traffic is just like, oh, it is really bad. Like, it is the worst in the country. It is the worst. And they have like 10 lanes wide, and it's just packed any time of day. Like I'm used to doing 2 or 3 episodes in it, like a circuit, or maybe 2 episodes, maybe I could only do 1 episode there in a day, because it was 4 hours, 5 hours of driving to and from. You know, I want to go out to Rancho Cucamonga, or the what's the valley, San Fernando Valley. It was just wow, doing Wyatt Earp's brother Morgan Earp. It was like wow. LA traffic is killer. Yeah, Atlanta is pretty bad too. Luckily, on my trip through Atlanta, I was 4 a.m. because of storms. I was trying to beat thunderstorms coming from Florida. That's after you and I did that. Remember, I was going to Alabama, and I was going through Georgia. There was still a ton of traffic. It was 4 a.m. But I love Atlanta's got some great history, great stories. I can tell you that. If you come to Europe, you have to visit Spain. Yeah, you know, that's interesting. I've never thought of going to Madrid. Give me a story, though. I'm not going to like go to Madrid just to go to Madrid. It's got to be like a killer story. That's like what drives me sometimes. I get a story and I'm like, I'll drive here to Timbuktu. Like I'm obsessed with the story. It's like the story of Anna Hochwald that was buried alive in Dayton. I literally said, I'm going tomorrow. I don't care what the weather is. And I'll stay over. I'll find a hotel. And I like just went like buried alive. You got a buried alive story, guys, reminding you, email me. Don't like shout it out here. Although I trust Scott, but this is going to play publicly. Buried alive. I want a buried alive story. I need my next buried alive story where they dug him up and they saw the scratch marks in the coffin. Like my friend did Whitdock's. Octavia Hatcher, that's his story. He owns that. Great job on that story. Scratched the inside of the coffin and her nails were gone. Bloody fingernails and the skull still with the mouth. Ah. Well, what would you do? That's my worst fear. I'd rather be eaten by sharks. That's what I said in my episode. I'd rather be eaten by sharks than be buried alive. How about that one I did in Vermont, man? That was my number one story of that doctor or whatever his name was with the glass window. Oh, yeah, I wanted to do that. That's why I went to Vermont, for that story. I had to go. Scott says, I'm going to follow Ron around in every upload. I'm putting the same video. Oh, you're going to do that like you know who? Oh, you kill me, man. You kill me. You know, you're the only guy I trust, you and Steve and Whitdock's. I love it. You're the only guys I know. And what's the other guy? Harmon, Infamous Crime Locations. He's a good egg. I like him. I got a note from him. We got to get together again. I said, yeah, we got to collab again. Harmon's good. I know you know Harmon. He's a good guy. You got to check his channel out. I don't know how he does it. He's like knocking the stories out. Like he's like a road warrior. Mobile Instinct is pretty good too. I think he does good work. Yeah. He's been around a long time. He's got a big channel. He seems like a real stand-up guy. The Mobile Instinct guy, he seems cool. Rick Wright, I went to their funeral with my parents. Blah, 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 blah. Kimmy Baker? You talking about Tammy Faye Baker? Hey, whatever happened to Tammy Faye Baker? Do you guys know who she is? She had the eyes with the mascara that she couldn't open her eyes. There was so much mascara. And then she would cry. Now that's for Scott. Scott, you should do Tammy Faye Baker. That is so up your alley. Is she still alive? She died of cancer, Debbie Williams says. Scott, you got to do Tammy Faye for me. Dedicated to me. Tammy Faye. Maybe you did it. Remember? Oh, that's like so up your alley. You could have so much fun with Tammy Faye Baker. The church lady. Yeah. Oh, you did? Did you do the story on Tammy Faye? Okay, I gotta go find your story. I knew it. She passed away. She had cancer. Okay. I did not watch the movie Cocaine Bear yet, but I know Scott did the cool story on it because that's the only reason I know about it is watching on Scott's channel. But let me give you a big movie recommendation. Big. And I don't give movie recommendations, but I just went to see with the boys the story about Michael Jordan and Nike and how Nike signed him. Unbelievable. One of the best movies I've seen in the last 10 years. Please go see the movie about Michael Jordan, Nike. And they like downplay. I'm not going to spoil it, but what the cool thing they do is they don't, it's not about Michael Jordan. They keep him, it's about his parents and Nike and the characters, and the story's unbelievable. I mean, Michael Jordan's story is just a great story. And I always said, and I got criticized for it, it's funny, it's like that story I did on Lindbergh's mom. And for some reason, I don't know how I got on the topic. I'm like, LeBron James is never going to be Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan will always be, because it's Mike. It's not about numbers and records. He's Mike. He was Mike. It's the man and the legend and the legacy and how much you're liked. Be like Mike. And when you see this Nike movie, oh man, it's with the Bourne Identity guy and God, I'm so bad with names. Matt Damon and the other guy that was married to Jennifer Lopez. What's his name? Yeah. So you did Tammy Faye Baker. I'm going to have to, I really want to watch that. So I'm just going to go to your channel and just search for Tammy Faye, whatever, Tammy Faye. And I'll find it, right? Ben Affleck, right. Ben Affleck. I'm so bad with the names. Wilmington, North Carolina. Yeah. You know, he didn't make his high school. He got cut from his high school team. There's so many parts to Michael Jordan's life that you can do. Like that was just this much of his life, like a year. And it's a movie. Like you could go back to his high school years. They'll probably make a movie about that. And it'll be a great movie. I mean, the guy is so inspirational. He's such a good guy. Should do the Warrens, Jules said. I would love to do the Warrens, but that's been, again, it's worn out on YouTube. It's been done. I don't want to do stuff that's been done on YouTube a lot. I want to do my own. I want to do fresh stories. Love you, Ron. Got to run, picking up dinner. All right, Scott. I'm ready to bug out too. So everybody say bye-bye to Scott on tape. Go to his channel. Check out his stuff. And I think that's a good cue for me to wrap things up here. All right, guys. Anybody going to hang out with me tonight on the chat for our premiere? So I'll see you at 8 p.m. Central Time, which is about 3.5 hours from now, right? Do I have my, 3 hours and 15 minutes. We can see you guys again, all right? So bye-bye, Scott. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Hope to see you tonight at the vintage story, all right? Bye.